3, 4, 5 doctors working for them, right? But they're not in the exam room. And that made me think, like, why am I still in the exam room? All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. I have some things to say today. These are the steps you need to take to get to that next level. All right. I'm not talking about the $1 million practice. I'm not talking about, the cold start. Today I'm talking about you having that empire, that business that runs without you there. How do you make it happen? What's your role in that? Where are you most valuable? I'll answer those questions and more. This is the Ultimate OD Podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. Thank you for tuning in, listening, the likes, emails, just listening to the show, following, seeing it grow over the years. I'm on year 5. Good night. Things have been progressing. I almost cringe thinking back to those first episodes and what they were and how this came to be. I just literally thought, I listened to a ton of podcasts. Like, I can do that. I have things to say. And when I talked to one of my friends about the podcast, one of his questions was, are you going to be able to come up with content every single week? And to this point, I have. 5 years in, I still can talk about optometry or optometry-related things, and I think that's amazing. Part of the reason why I think I can do that is this podcast is me having to sit down and work through things that I'm going through. It makes me do a little bit of research, reading, and then put it into a long-form conversation right now. And that helps me manage my day, manage my life, manage my practice better. As a result, I can give better office meetings, come up with these outlines. I used to have like pages of outlines, almost pre-writing it. Now, 5 minutes before, I can type some things down, take my thoughts that are in my head and put them on paper and talk here. I do think that at some point when I have more time, I can do an even better job. I can make this podcast grow, and that's why I do it every week, because I like honing the skill. It's just not the season for me to be my sole focus, but I still get value from it. I hope you guys get value from it. I look at the listens, and it's just a good place to be, right? It's a good practice to have. When I listen to a lot of successful people through podcasts, mainly reading, whenever they needed to process things, podcasting wasn't necessarily it, but writing was their medium. They'd journal, they'd workshop things and writing, and that would allow them to make developments in their business and their life problems that they were having. I think this is my version of that. So it's a journal that I kind of share with you guys, and I'm completely transparent and wide open. And it's funny because I was listening to Alex Hormozy, and he was talking about a first-time entrepreneur when they have their business idea. They'll send something to someone, sign the NDA, and then I'll send you this. And someone that's done 2, 3 businesses, they're more advanced in their career, will give you the projections, the plans, everything that the business entails, and say, yeah, this is probably all wrong, but this is where I'm at right now. Because they know that everything is adapting and evolving on the fly. That's why you have people that are really successful that give you all the information. There's YouTube channels of endless information on whatever you want, and there's not an endless amount of people duplicating their process, because it's the execution and discipline that makes it happen. Right? I can tell you till I'm blue in the face what I do, how I've become successful, and you can hear it, but if you don't execute it, if you're not disciplined to follow through, or if you put your slant on what that means, it's not going to be the same. And I'm not saying that what I'm telling you is the only way, but that's why there's so many self-help books that are out there, or YouTube channels telling you how to do X, Y, or Z, and people still have the problems. They're still searching for answers, is because it's stinking hard, right? That being said, we're to the next level. I think about my early podcast episodes, and I was talking to you a lot about, hey, this is how you dispense frames. This is how you do your workups, how to be efficient in the office. And as I've evolved, as I've joined the P3 study group and talked to other practice owners, and I love my group that I talk to. So much wisdom, so much knowledge. But the real like cool thing is when I see those people that have 4 or 5 offices that are like, you know, 50, 60 years old towards the end of their, not the end, they're more evolved. They're 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of me. And I pick their brains. And it's not like they're saying, hey, this is what you do. This is how you're successful. Do these things. Every single one of them to a T. Oh, you're doing great. You're in a good spot, etc. I'm like, that's not what I want to hear. So what I do is I ask them, what does your day look like? How many days a week do you see patients? Do you have a management team? What do you do? What's their lifestyle like? And there's so much wisdom in that. What people do with their time is what they value. There's reason behind that, right? Like, in every single successful doctor, the most I hear someone in the exam room at the level that I want to aspire to is 3 days a week. The most. Most are 2 or 1. Some have committed so fully that they're not even practicing anymore. They tell you stories from the trenches, but they're beyond that level, right? What does that tell you? Okay, we start our business, and initially, you have to do everything. I was doing workups. I was the only one answering phones, all those tasks. All right. Then I started hiring staff, right? Really cool. The biggest area of growth is when I hired another doctor. And I wish I did that sooner. I had a second office, and I was one person trying to work 2 offices, and I didn't have the courage, the confidence, the development to hire another doctor. Right? I just wasn't there. Maybe a little insecure. I thought I was the only one that could do it. No one understands it my way. And I probably was too immature and young to manage another doctor, right? Well, fast forward to where I'm at now, and I wouldn't go back. I love that relationship. I love the mentorship, and that's a business, right? When the other doctor first started, it wasn't cookie cutter, like, here you go, and off and running. There's some coaching that had to be done. And my worry was that I set up a great job that only I could operate in. I felt like I had a business there, but it wasn't just plug and play. But through the coaching and seeing where we're at now, starting to be around $500 revenue per patient, amazing. I have it, right? But I got the right associate that trusted me, trusted the process, very coachable. We have good rapport, good banter, but she was able to grasp what I was showing her and make it her own, but make it successful. Like, now I have a way of going through and knowing that I can add another doctor who in any optometry business is the revenue driver, right? They're the straw that stirs the drink. I don't care how good your optical is. I don't care how good the front desk is. The doctor makes the exams happen, right? And that's where you get patients to do more and more, right? So you have to have good doctors. So I got that. That's awesome. But then it takes me back to the successful doctors. They understood that. They have 3, 4, 5 doctors working for them, right? But they're not in the exam room. And that made me think, like, why am I still in the exam room? What am I missing? And when I first started, one, I needed to drive revenue, right? When we moved to the new office. So that was a concern. But once I saw the other doctor producing, and I was gone for those 11 days, best thing I did, listen to the past few episodes, stepping back and getting a 30,000 foot view. But I came back with some juice. I had time to think. My mind was like starting to be like those big dog practices. And I wasn't thinking about tomorrow. I was thinking, I'm 2 years down the road. I have that 5-year vision, right? Everything I do now is with that bigger picture in mind, right? And this has taken a lot of effort and energy, and I want to guide you because this was not intuitive to me. When I first sat down and I wasn't seeing patients, I was like twiddling my thumbs. I'm like, what do I do? I'm here and I have nothing to work on. It was uncomfortable. It I felt like it was a waste of time because I was there, but I didn't have the next steps. So that's what I want to give you. You need to get out of the exam room. If you're out of the exam room, you will make more money than when you're in the exam room. That's the false thing that we lead ourselves to believe is if I'm not seeing patients, I'm not making money. There's a better way. The big higher ups have figured this out, and it gives you juice. You didn't start this practice of yours to have a really good job. You wanted a business. That's why you're in this. Let me tell you the things that I've realized. Take it for what you will, but these things have helped me. So, one, you got to dedicate time away from the exam room. Number one, like I would block off Fridays. I've worked a half day on Fridays for a couple of years now, right? But you know what I do? I work as hard as I possibly could till Friday, get done, and then I'd have to do all those day-to-day like payroll, uh, pay the bills, make the phone calls that I haven't made, check emails, and it wasn't working on the business. It was administrative tasks. And that's not what you're dedicating time to. That's not what I'm saying you need to do, right? Now, I've made the jump. I went to that last conference. I talked to those doctors, and one of the things I asked myself is, what if I'm where I want to be in 10 years, right? What am I going to look back today and say I should have lost sooner? And one is like, you need to get out of the exam room. You need to be that CEO of your practice. And I'm like, why am I not doing that now? I have the ability to, the doctor that is here can see patients, can drive revenue. She proved it when I was gone. Give her the opportunity. And you work on that higher level stuff. So I'm out of the exam room on Thursdays. That's that. Now, listen to me. I'm out of the exam room, but I'm still meeting with my people. And we'll cover that in the next step. But Fridays, I am not going into the office. Like if I do, it's after they're done, or if I do go in, I slide in after we open, and I'm not there. They don't know that I'm there. They walk in to hand out their time cards and stuff like that. Oh, what are you doing here? Didn't even know you were here. I made calls to them. I did it over the phone, right? When you need to think and just sit back and have your vision, you need to be out of that office, right? Coffee shop, go to a library, I don't know, at your home if no one else is home. Find your happy place, go to a park. But you need time to sit and just think. And don't doom scroll. Don't go over your phone and look at Twitter, social media. For me, my kryptonite, email and the schedule. I don't know what happens to me, but I'm this person that if I start looking at the schedule, I'll just keep looking weeks on end and end. How can I be more efficient? How many exams am I seeing? What I'm doing? And I go down this rabbit hole of 3 hours where I'm just playing with the schedule. What's wrong with me? I don't know, right? And then if I get emails, if I open up my Chromebook and I'm looking, at Gmail, I'll just start going through organized emails. I have a million things. Email is no. I don't even want music. Like what I literally have a notebook, paper, a bunch of scrap paper, and I just start doodling and writing things down and putting my thoughts on paper. And it's been the biggest growth for me. And I have a vision. I was in a marketing meeting today, and the things I could have expounded on because I've let my mind have some room to run. It's amazing. We're going to be better for it. That's how you lead your business. So dedicate time away from patient care, but away from the office. I know it sounds crazy, and it's like I talk to some other people that are like golfing and whatnot. If you can think and that clears your mind, if it's working out, I don't know what you need to do, but don't be in the office. Give yourself time. I really think like something active like golfing or something is not going to do it. You need to be in your own world, and you don't have to do anything but you have to be thinking about the vision or about your office in some way, shape, or form, right? It doesn't have to be like I'm going to do my org chart. I'm going to do, patient position descriptions. No, just you're good. This is office time for an hour or two, right? And see where it goes. I got 2.5 hours in and I started to like wander. I'm like, hey, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to drive to another location, work towards the office, but let your mind be free. Amazing what comes of that. Okay. And then the same thing I kind of mentioned on this, don't fill it with low level things, right? Remember, I was paying bills. Other people can do that. I was answering emails. An email doesn't have to be answered. They're trying to steal your time, right? Get them when you get them. Take care of yourself first, right? Doom scrolling through my schedule or whatever I call that, like having fun with the schedule. Make sure you're doing high level things. And I can guide you with it. Send me things. There's things you can focus on, and I'll go further. Now, once you give yourself this time, you're like, all right, Nick, I'm going to spend time on the office. What the crap am I supposed to do? And number one, I will tell you, what is your vision, right? What is your passion? What do you love to do? And that, I did this about 6 months ago, put it all on paper, and it was mechanical, right? It's not really, it helped focus me, but it wasn't my passion. And as I revisited that when I had that 11 days, I'm like, how do I make this really speak to me? I'm not trying to give a message to the staff this is my passion. And it became clear. I like 3 things that I want to do in every interaction, whether it's with my wife, with my kids, if I'm talking to a student, if I'm out at my church. These are things I want to do. I want to give people hope. I want to educate. I want to advise. That gives me juice, right? And then your mission statement. So I know my passion, right? What's your mission in life? Let's focus on your practice. What's your mission in your practice, right? And this is what you get up, and these are the things you want to do. Like one of the things I want to do in 10 years is 10,000 exams. And I kept putting out that 10,000 exam number to my staff, and it didn't really resonate. And I'm like, why is it not resonating? And the reason was I, as a leader, didn't put some oomph behind that. I didn't give them a mission, something to drive the story home. And I thought about it. I'm like, our mission, health is wealth. We are here to optimize vision. And I talked about how when a person has everything, they're healthy and whatnot, they want a million things. When a person is sick, can't see, in pain, they want one thing, they want their health. I believe that's a passion for me. That's our mission. We have the ability to do that through eye care. And that's what I want my staff to go. And because we can do that, we now, sometime in the future, will see 10,000 patients in a year. And we'll have an influence on their lives. That's what we're going to do. And I developed this authentic passion and vision and mission for my office because I gave myself time to think about it. When you're running 120 miles an hour nonstop, you don't give yourself to just sit, relax, and think, you're never going to come up with that, right? So find out your vision. And then once you have the vision, you need an organizational chart. And right now, if you're early in practice, a lot of it's going to be you. But think about that practice you want in 10 years. How are you going to set that up? And that's how I got to this point. Because I've been saying, 5 years ago, I set up an org chart. I have the drawing still of what I thought it was going to be. And I've honestly used it as my blueprint and filled in the pieces. Now, right now, I'm in the process of redefining the roles and what that looks like. But you need to have that vision of what you want your role to be. What are you going to do in the practice? What roles do you want? Design your perfect job, title, responsibilities, and then build the business around that. I think that's one of the best things I've heard. And I'm just now starting to do this, 13 years in. Let me plant the seed. Do it for yourself now. All right. So you have that org chart. And then once you have that organizational chart, define your roles first. What do you want to do? What do you not want to do? What you don't want to do still has to be done. Who's going to do it? Right? Then you go through and you start assigning roles to each individual place. And then once you see the roles, you now kind of can see the type of person you need to hire to put in there. Right? Have that in mind. It'll make hiring better. It'll make staff development better. The scary thing about it is you define those roles, you see what needs to be there, and then you realize you have someone in a role that they're not best suited for. You have someone in a role that they're actually, their team represents your core values, your culture, and the leader doesn't. It's a really awkward place to be. And that's where, if you're committed to this, you remove that leader, either find a better spot for them or get them off the team. Because do you believe in your core values or you don't? And that's not an easy conversation, but you'll never know that. And you'll realize that you're stunting your growth because you have this vision, you have this passion, but it's not radiating from every sector of your office. It's not radiating down from your other leadership to the rest of the staff. And I haven't got to that point yet, but I've talked to a lot of different people that have had that bad apple, if you will, that just, not a bad person, not a bad employee, but a bad fit for your culture. They removed them and they saw exponential growth. That hard conversation that you're not wanting to have is the reason you're not growing the way you want to. Think about that. And you wouldn't know that if you didn't define the roles and have that vision. Okay? Once you have those roles, once you have the vision, the next step is you have got to meet with your team. Again, think about all these things I'm laying out. If you're working 5 days a week in the exam room, how are you ever going to have time for this? And a life outside of this, right? These big dogs, the majority of their time while you're in the exam room asking one or two, they're thinking about these big picture things. They're meeting with their teams. Whether it's the optical department, the front desk, the techs, their leadership team, you name it, and they're coming up with a game plan, right? How much strategy are you putting into your office? Remember, the biggest thing about strategy is knowing what not to do, right? Well, maybe you should stop seeing some patients and start working on the plan of action. Easier said than done. Again, I am just now, as I'm doing this podcast, about a week or two in of everything I'm saying here, but I'm telling you right now, I have more juice than I ever have. And usually you come back from a meeting, you have a bunch of energy, and a week or two in, you're right back in the grind. Because I've made these choices and I'm committed to this, I still have juice. I wake up and I have more energy going into the office because I'm growing something again. I love that. You want that feeling, okay? So you have to meet with your team. You have to get the messaging. You have to make sure they know where you're going. And then from there, you need to give them power. You need to delegate to them. Hey, on Fridays, I'm not going to be here. You got this, right? At first, they kind of looked at me like, there's an ego part of this. Like, I used to think if I'm not there, what kind of example am I setting? Right? If I'm not there, are they going to look at me to the leader the same way? Even when I told them this, they kind of got this, are you okay? This is a complete opposite of anyone we've ever known named Dr. Lilly in this office. He's always been here, if not first one in, last one out, right? I'm measuring myself based on what I think they perceive me as. Who gives a crap? My business. I'm going to make things happen. They'll fall in line or they're not the right people on the team, right? Delegate, let them know. But you know what happens when you're not there? They rise to the occasion. They do more than they ever do when you're around because they don't have you to fall back on. it's great to see that growth, right? Once you do that, you have a business. It's running, it's operating, the wheels are in motion. The last piece of the puzzle is you have to know the KPIs, key performance indicators, that you need to see that will tell you without being in the office how the office is doing. Right? For example, we look at accessories that we sell in the office, and I looked at my accessories. I looked at the associates' accessories, and like she's so much of our dry eye products her patients are getting. I'm like, I'll tell you this right now, you're working your butt off, and I know you're passionate about this because you're talking about that. You don't just sell these things without talking about it. It told me that, like, just by looking at the numbers, right? Exam only rates, frame capture rates. How are you pre-appointing? One of the things I want to know is how many refractions did we have and how many exam onlys, right? What's the messaging in the exam room? Are we pre-appointing? Okay, is that a breakdown of this? What metrics do you need to see? Like, if you just got an email at the end of the day, what numbers or what information are you going to ask for that will tell you we had a good day or we had a bad day? Right? We need to work on this, we need to work on that. Once you have those KPIs, you now have that business where you can be sunbathing in Florida while they're working at the office. You get your email and you know how good day, bad day. You see those numbers, and now you can, all right, hey, maybe we need to work on this. All right, there's an issue there. We got to address it. Whereas before, you had to physically be in the office, put your thumb in there and look and see. Otherwise, you wouldn't know. Well, that's what these other people do. They get the data and they make the decisions. So this is a very important episode if you want to get to the next level, if you want a business and not a job. Again, step-by-step outline of what you need to do to make this happen. It's not going to be overnight. And honestly, what I outlined here could be a 5-year project, right? I know I've been working towards this for at least 2.5 years, okay? And now I'm finally making the steps and I'm seeing it happen. But like everyone before me that told me their advice, I look back now and I wish I would have done it sooner. I'm hopefully planting the seed so you do it before I did. That's what I have. We'll have more for you next week. Where has the time gone? We are to the closing thought of the episode, and today I will leave you with some words of wisdom from the great Henry Ford. If you've always done what you've done, you'll always get what you've got. That's the name of this episode, right? How do you get to the next level? How do you break through? And it's going to be doing something different than what you've done in the past X amount of years, right? Every day, get up, grind my butt off, see patients, go home, rinse, and repeat. I've built a great business. I say business casually because if I'm not there, the business wasn't running the past decade, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great life. I am very blessed. But if you want to get to that next level, if you want to take advantage of the most important thing in your life, and that's your time, you got to take it to the next level. You got to do some things that you haven't done, right? And that might be, I'm talking from an optometry context. That might be your home life, spiritual life, relationships. I don't know what it is. But I always say, if in 5 years you're the same place you are right now, you've probably let yourself down, right? If you want to get to the next level, you got to start doing some things you haven't done. Start now. The best time to start was yesterday. Next best time, now. Listen to the podcast. That's what I have for you. Dr. Lily, out.